You have a new book that just came out this week, right?
I'm part of a big book that just came out this week. The camera's, oh, there we go.
So it's
I did that. That's me. I wrote and drew. I flexed my muscles on this. I wrote and drew a Power Rangers story. This is Goldar.
You love Goldar. You're like obsessed with Goldar.
Goldar's really fun to draw. He's really fun to draw. He's really weird and simple, in terms of his like emotions and mood.
Always angry.
Always angry, but like always subservient.
Yep.
It's so weird. And I grew up with Goldar, so I love him. I love him so much. And this was a really crazy fun process. I was really nervous about Saban, but in terms of like approvals, but they were super straightforward. It was really, they changed that at the way last second. Sorry. I'm learning new things in front of you. But anyway, it was super smooth as a process. They were very particular about like making sure the diamonds on their costumes were like exactly
Symmetrical.
not symmetrical, that they like connected and
Okay.
and broke also, like, but they reached like a perfect point at the end too. I was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, that's an easy note to take. But yeah, I just wanted to do something that was very, very, very true to the experience we had as kids watching Power Rangers. And that's what's funny about, like, I was like, oh, I don't think I like landed the plane on this one. I don't think people liked it, because I was just trying to really like make it feel like you were watching an old episode. And then you read these other comics and it's like, oh right, like people are just having like a good old time, like letting their imaginations run wild. Whereas I was like, no, I want it to like look like a Zord fight where it's literally like a guy in a Zord costume fighting like a guy in a Goldar costume. And so like, and I wanted them to be like magically like in a clearing where there's like no
Buildings.
yeah, like, like they'd always end up in this like magical like flat terrain where like, there's like mountains in the background maybe. And then yeah, they'll fight in a city too, but like they're always magically fighting like right in this one intersection where there's just nothing. There's no trees. It's just sidewalk. It's sidewalk to fit two gigantic Zords and monsters. But yeah, I had a great old time with it.
It really, when I read it, it really felt like it was an old episode, and it felt like it was that like kind of like a transitionary period for some of the characters.
Yeah.
And I think it was something like where they're kind of in that process of kind of finding themselves.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
No, and I just think that was great.
Yeah, it's funny because I was never super close with Aisha and Adam and Rocky
Yeah.
in that generation. I was so
Jason, Trini, and
yeah, I was so into the originals. But then when I was doing all my like research, which means drinking some white wine, eating some York peppermint patties that have been in the refrigerator for a few hours, and watching old Power Ranger episodes on Netflix. Like that is my job. I'm sorry.
That's the coolest thing ever.
It's a great job. Yeah, I'm a brat, but I'm not a brat. I'm actually a hard worker sometimes. But anyway, and a brat. But I was going through and I was like, man, but I like loved this era actually. I just like didn't value it the same way. So I was like watching Adam and Aisha and Rocky, and I was just trying to like analyze them and figure them out. And I was like, man, yeah, they just like kind of like get accepted. They just get absorbed. And I was like, but like in real life, like it wouldn't quite be like that. So that was sort of what I wanted to take that moment and take maybe, in the real world, these kids would be like our status quo just changed overnight. And like I didn't want to make it, it's Power Rangers, so you've always got to be optimistic and happy tonally, I
Yep.
think. You don't want to go like what is it, Chronicle, or you don't want to get all Dark Knight with
Yeah.
it and have them have like PTSD because it's Power Rangers, it's for kids. So what I did want to talk about was that feeling of like, I'm here, I'm new, everyone says I'm welcome, but like I can't shake that there are shadows. You know
Yep.
what I mean? That I'm in someone else's shadow.
Yep.
So I focused on that, and it was really funny because like I sent a few ideas over, and I didn't even think this was gonna get picked, but like I was just like, oh yeah, like maybe, and then this was the one Saban wanted, so I just leaned into those lessons. I think Power Rangers is a really good show. and franchise in terms of communicating, like
Of course.
teamwork, friendship, community. I'm like getting so emotional talking about Power Rangers, but like, yeah, that's what it means to me, you know?
Of
Like,
course, it teaches you moral values, especially to kids, to understand teamwork, working together. You can't do everything alone, and to get over your fears and
yeah,
you know.
and like, and it's just such a like, it's just great. I mean, you know, obviously it's interesting that the ratio is like 4 boys to 2 girls, and that like the color of the costumes versus the races in the first season was a little like, okay, that's not the best that your Black Ranger's a black dude, but whatever. But other than that, like they never harped on like it was yeah, it just was like so smooth in terms of like there are no gender roles, there are no like race roles. Like
Yep,
there is just saving the goddamn world
and that's it.
with your friends
That's all that's
and
important.
doing front flips and being on rollerblades and
Jumping out
having
of planes.
jumping out of planes. One of you gets to be on a sky snowboard or whatever the hell
Oh
Tommy was
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah, that was awesome.
I know.
I was like, of course, Tommy's just the most badass one.
I like that he's the only one, and everyone else is like, "Woo, yeah,
Yeah.
Tommy over there."
Yeah.
Tommy's like Nolly in the sky.
Yeah.